Hello, everyone out there in the world of social media. Welcome you to a master series of Savage Flight, and we're going to do this in a different format. We got two shows. We're doing like the big boys. So my show is my Savage Flight Master Series. So Brian and I talked, and we said, "Hey, Fetz, you got yours. What is it, Fetz?"
Just a cup.
Just a cup.
Just
So
a cup.
we got Savage Flight Master Series and Just a Cup for you today, where Fetz and I talk about, hey, I think we got some interesting things, nuggets we can share in the world of sports, coaching, and things that you always wanted to know and may not know about, and things that you might already know, and we're going to dig a little deeper for you so you learn a little more from our perspectives as the world from coaching. And what we got is, Fetch, why don't you tell them who you are, dude?
Oh man, I'm not very good at this because I'm just a washed up coach that
Here
had
we
some
go.
success a little bit. Yeah, I had opportunity to coach 23 years in college, at a bunch of different schools: Mississippi State, Cal Berkeley, Harvard, Virginia was my last stop as the head coach and director of track and field and cross country. But also coached football. Coached football at Ranger Junior College down in Texas. And that was my start. Played college football at 1AA level and just been involved since. Now I've kind of made that transition out of the coaching realm into the broadcast entrepreneur side of things and been able to do a bunch of stuff. Been fortunate, and it's
That's
been
it
fun.
doesn't work that way. Once a coach, you're always a
Always
coach.
a coach. No, that's true.
Right? They're
I
not even gonna
retired.
let you lose the title. It
I
doesn't matter.
retired from the day-to-day grind that is intercollegiate athletics is what I did.
Right, right.
But yeah, no, it's crazy how much things have changed,
Mm-hmm.
but how much things are the same in
Yeah,
college sports. And
right,
you know, fortunate. I have a lot of friends in a lot of sports other than track and field. I kind of laugh
right.
is my wife had mentioned, she's like, when we go out places, we go out with football and basketball and baseball coaches. We never go out with track coaches. Why
Right.
is that? I said, well, really, I said, once you become a head coach, you know, your circle becomes real small. Amy Dean at Miami told me that,
Right.
a long time ago. And, I started, like becoming friends with other head coaches in the wing or the staff or, the areas of the athletic department. So it's kind of funny. I probably when you go on speed dial on my phone, there's a whole lot more in, D1
Mhm.
football, D1 basketball, D1 baseball.
Well,
Maybe track and field.
I was gonna say the track coaches say they can't go eat.
Right.
They a lot of track coaches, even if it's not true, at the highest level, they go, wait, whoa, that's we eating at two separate places because of that football budget
Oh yeah.
and that basketball budget.
That's true.
Right.
There's a vast chasm between the two for sure.
Right. Track say, hey, we're going to McDonald's.
Well, it depends on where you're at.
The
You're down in
football
the
coach say,
SEC.
hey, we're going to Chick-fil-A. I'm saying if it's like fast food, they say, we're going to here.
Yeah, but if you got that SEC Big Ten budgets, it's a little
Oh,
bit.
oh. Yeah, that's real. That's real.
You're there's a chasm between. I was talking with a coach yesterday, actually at what you call them a group of five school, and they were explaining their scholarships and their travel budget stuff to me, and I was blown away. I
Mhm.
mean, in a negative way, not in a positive way.
Oh, really? Oh,
I was shocked. I was like, that's how many you're not even fully funded. And I think most, and I think that's probably more the norm than than a
yeah.
side note.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of recruits, a lot of high school athletes, a lot of transfers, and a lot of just coaches might not know that they come quick to judgment, or they say, like, well, if a coach says they don't have any scholarship money for me, well, they're lying to me. Or people are quick to criticize, programs, but they might not realize that program's not playing the full deck.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, I
I
mean,
got you.
so I mean, like, a team that's maybe the worst team in a conference A or conference B, whatever it might
Right.
be.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody might be quick to say, well, that coach can't coach. They're terrible. They don't get it done. Well, that might be the only school in the conference that's not fully funded.
Mm,
They might be playing with 11 scholarships and everybody else is
right.
playing with 19.
Right.
Well, I don't care how good of a coach you are. Money's money.
Right.
And if you don't have much, you're not going to win. That's
so so you don't
bottom line.
think that recruiting will overcome
I
getting that
mean,
blue chip athlete?
I would venture to say, and I had a pretty decent reputation of recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
If you're telling me I got to compete with half the scholarship money that my competitors have,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't that good,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to lose out in numbers games,
Right.
and
Right.
you're just not going to be able to compete with them. And with name, image, and likeness now, and the transfer portal,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more to it than what most maybe club coaches, high school coaches, or even college coaches or parents know
Mm-hmm.
for that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, so like, okay, so let's look at that 15-year-old. Let's start there. 14, 15-year-old.
matter. Okay.
What? So regardless of sport, like we said,
Yeah.
before we got on the call, regardless of sport. Oh man. Yeah, yeah. Regardless of sport, what would you, what would be the three things that you would recommend to that athlete, that rising star, and those, you know, parents or guardians who are navigating that process? What's the first thing you're gonna tell
I'd probably say first thing is be realistic.
them?
That would probably be the first
You
thing.
just lost half of them, right?
Yeah, no. Be realistic would be the first thing. And I'll come back and explain that a little bit more. Um, the other one would be do your own research. Like, I mean, I can explain it, but don't just think because situation looks pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the scenes, it is pretty,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it might not be.
Right.
And I would say the third one is have some thick skin.
Mm.
Um, because what is perceived and what is real can be two totally different things.
Okay.
And why I say that is,
So give me an example.
it's recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
If you think if you're a parent, you work in sales, you're trying to get the product, like
Right.
you're trying to close the deal. And there's not all coaches are straight up forward and honest.
No, get out of here. Seriously? Okay. I still got you.
They're pretty much still going to try to get things done. Like, I mean, the bottom line is they're trying to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that falls on deaf ears sometimes. I mean, they don't.
Mm.
But the reality part and being real and being realistic is, just because you are the best person in your city, state, whatever, doesn't mean you're what school X wants.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I say that in the reality of, let's use a pole vaulter
Yeah,
for an
let's do
example.
the, folks want to,
I,
listeners and viewers, they
I'll
want to
give
hear
two
that.
examples,
They want to hear a good example. Yeah,
yeah,
give
I
me an
mean, and I
example.
can interchange pole vault or quarterback. It doesn't really
Okay.
matter. Let's say you really want to go to state school U, and you're a quarterback, and you're the best quarterback that there is in your state, or you're the best pole vaulter you are in your state. Well, just because you're the best doesn't mean that school has money for you. They might already have an allotment of quarterbacks in line, so they're just not recruiting a quarterback that year. or
Right.
they might not be recruiting a pole vaulter that year.
Right.
That doesn't mean that, they're disrespecting you. It's just reality.
Right.
If I go to the
Right.
grocery store and I'm gonna buy stuff and I already have steak at the house, I'm not gonna buy steak. Maybe I need to
Right.
buy fish. Maybe I need to buy chicken.
Right. Right.
And I think that's a hard thing sometimes as a coach, because I might want you. And now that the transfer portal is in play, hey, like I might come back to you. Year two, I might say, hey, Coach Savage, like, can I get that, get that quarterback again? Can I get that pole vaulter again?
Right. Right.
But also, other than football, volleyball, basketball, and I think maybe like tennis, there's really not full scholarships in every sport. And you're not getting a full scholarship unless you can produce at the highest level.
Right.
If you're getting a full scholarship, like you want a full scholarship in the SEC or the ACC or the Big Ten or whatever, you better be able to score at the NCAA championships before you get there. Or you
Say
better be
that
able to be
again. Say that
literally
again, Fab. Say
score
that
at the
again.
NCAA championships before you get there if you want a full scholarship. Or you
Right.
better at least be able to be a champion in the conference you're in.
Right.
If you look at a simple formula, Wes Kitley from Texas Tech gave me this a long time ago when I was at Ranger Junior College. I respect the man tremendously and just won a national championship, another one at Texas Tech, which just is tremendous stuff. But if you go on a point scale percentage wise, and a lot of coaches do this, if you can score 10 points, that's 100%. If 8 points, 80. 70, 60, 50.
Wow.
If you can score 1 point at the conference meet, you're worth 10%. That's it. That's realistic in
Wow.
track and field. That's your realistic worth 10%. Now, you might bump them a little bit coming out of high school and say, hey, like we have some expectations for you that so you might give them like 20%. I mean, I know. I mean, we had a young person at one of the schools I was at that was the school national champion in an event.
Right.
And they received 10% coming in the door because they couldn't even score or make the finals at our conference meet with what they did in high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
Okay.
we offered them 10% up front. Now, on the backside, they were told, if you can do X, we're going to take care of you. They did X, and we took care of it. But they had to earn it. And that's where I think a lot of times, there's a difference. That's where the reality comes in,
Yeah. Yeah.
And that goes for baseball. That goes for swimming. I mean, I know a school that just won 4 national championships back to back to back to back in swimming that has the same kind of philosophy.
So you do look at it as a philosophy.
A philosophy, but it's a normal philosophy.
So in that case, some schools may not use that philosophy.
No, I mean, some schools,
they're throwing the money around.
Hey, there's some schools that are throwing mud at a wall and hoping it becomes a Mona Lisa.
Okay. All right. So now you've got that family. They're on these trips.
Right.
And what's your view, first of all, on the fact that the transition you and I know about, that it's now no cap, right? Unlimited trips. So now let's say you're covered. You're not the dog of dogs.
Yep.
But you're in that top 10%.
Yep.
What should that athlete and those families expect as they are going through that process? Should they expect, like when you played or I played, I think I had 6, right? And then, and you went on your trips and you could take your time. Now, I remember when my son was getting recruited, they were telling him, no, you're going to have to make a decision because you're our top dog after you go 2 trips as you're sitting at the trip. That's not at school.
Yeah, no,
You're
well,
sitting and they want to hear the phone call. Now, what in this new one where you can take, can you really get 10 trips or, 15 trips if you were that 10% person?
you're really rolling the dice. I mean,
Okay.
because the reality of it is you have certain many scholarships, and this is the business side of college
Right.
sports. If I have 5 scholarships to give, I'm not recruiting 5 athletes. I'm
Right.
recruiting multiple athletes because the
Okay.
reality of it is not all of those 5 are going to decide to come. But you've got to realize that you're on the visit. They're going to try to push you into making a decision.
Right.
Now, you can roll the dice and you can say, you know what, I'm not making a decision.
Right.
As a coach, on the flip side, you have to say, well, I might not have the money for you later on. That's just a reality because I can't wait for you to make a decision.
Can't wait. Right.
I've got, because in the realness of it is, you might have 3 kids. I'm just making this number up.
Yeah.
There might be 3 catchers out there that you're going after for baseball.
Right.
Well, there's probably not that much difference between all 3 of them.
Right.
Yeah. So you have your top one, your second one, your third one. You got it rated, and you offered one, and you tell them, hey, you have so much time to give us an answer.
Right.
And we might have to offer that scholarship to somebody else.
Okay.
And just because what you don't want to have happen is that kid wait and push it out to the day of signing and say, well, I'm gonna choose to go elsewhere. Well, then you are screwed as a program, which means you are probably going to get fired because you're not going to win. So you got to look out for yourself.
That's another element there, right? So, how much pressure when you're in the game as a head coach? How much pressure? Give some insight there on how much pressure were you under as a coach? Where you're like, is the contract that specific on like
I remember
winning the championship and all that comes with that?
I remember we just finished 10th in the country for the first time. It was the first time we had finished in the top 20 in the history of the school.
Okay.
We finished 10th in the country. And the next week, I was asked if we could do it outdoors. Do we expect to be that good outdoors? There wasn't a wasn't a, hey, we're going to give you a 5-year contract extension. You did a good job. It was, can we expect the same thing outdoors? We want the Directors Cup.
What have you done for me lately? What's next?
It wasn't, and I didn't take it as he doesn't, doesn't like me as a person, doesn't like me a coach. I'm like, no, that's what you pay me for.
Right.
To perform. And I told you from day one we were going to be able to do this. But there's real pressure. Because colleges, Olympic sports factor into Directors Cup points.
Okay.
Directors Cup points tie straight into bonuses for administrators.
Now remember, explain to viewers and listeners who are unfamiliar with Directors Cup. What exactly does that mean?
So there's a Directors Cup. So there is it ranks how you finish nationally in all the different sports. And a lot of schools, the senior administrators get bonuses. Coaches get bonuses on how well you finish in nationals. Typically, if you win a championship, might have APR or how the academics is. There's a couple other things you can get, but most all your bonuses are based on success, performance. So the coaches get their bonuses, they get their contracts redid, all those kind of things based on how well you perform. Athletes don't necessarily, because what they got.
So, right. You said that's the upside, getting the consistent money.
Yes. And so the Directors Cup is how they rank, how you finish nationally in all the different sports determines, like, are you the best athletic department in the country?
Mhm.
Stanford had it for decades upon decades.
Right.
And then Texas overtook them.
Mhm.
Virginia was always in the top, couple when I was there.
Right.
Cal Berkeley was always in the top couple when I was there.
Right.
Because they were very successful in sports, outside of football.
Title IX. Right. Yeah. Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
just because you're good in football doesn't mean you're any good in any other sport.
Right. Got a
That
whole
means
lot
you
of
put a lot of
hope.
money into football.
Yeah.